And just so folks know, besides our presenters, everybody is muted again for this part. We're gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna spotlight Judy Code to begin our closing plenary session. Take it away, Judy Code.
Thank you, Johnny. Good to be back with everyone. I hope everybody had some good conversations. I know the group we were in, we had a really rich, robust chat about Catholic Nonviolence Initiative and nonviolence in general. So it was great. I wanted to just take this moment to talk about the Catholic Nonviolence Days of Action. One thing that came up in the small group I was in was how necessary it is to just explain about what nonviolence is, to do some education, to give people a chance to learn more about it. This has been a critical part of this project for the last 5 years, and all of you who are organizers, you know this, how important it is to have just time to do some just basic education often on your topic, on what you're hoping to share. So last year we decided to put aside some time. We're Catholic and liturgical. We like calendars. We like routine. We like things that can really ground us. And so it was agreed that we would create the Catholic Nonviolence Days of Action. They start on September 21st, which is the International Day of Peace, and extends until October 2nd, which is the International Day of Nonviolence. It's also Gandhi's birthday. So we hope that this is a season where groups, small groups, big groups, can decide amongst themselves how to celebrate, how to educate, how to live nonviolence in whatever works in your context. So there's no pressure. This is not compulsory, but we really hope you and your community, in whatever form that takes, might consider just organizing something big or something small, and let us know what you're doing, and we would be happy to share that information with others. There's a link on our website. We have the list from 2020, a lot of the events that took place, and we're just starting to receive some activities that will be taking place in 2021. We know that it's a busy time. September is always busy for us in the Northern Hemisphere. It's the start of the school year and lots of things get going, and it's a lot of creation events are taking place. Our friends at Pace Bene, their campaign Nonviolence, they have a week of nonviolence. We want them all to work together. We want this to be collaborative, complementary, and not take away from anybody else's good stuff, but to build on each other. So I think some links are being shared where you might be able to find some information, maybe some ideas. We've got lots and lots of resources that are available. Our friend Pat Gaffney, she was a longtime director of Pax Christi UK, and she is on the executive committee for the Catholic Nonviolence Initiative. She has helped out a lot, pulled together some resources that might be of use. And Rose Berger, who I know was leading one of the small groups, she and Pat are the co-coordinators of the People of God Committee. So we just hope people just take a perusal, look at what's there. It's a lot of stuff to digest and see what might work for you. And please let us know, send an email and there's also a Google form to fill out if you prefer that way, to let us know what you're thinking of. And we hope you might check back if you're not gonna lead an event yourself, which is fine. Check back and see if something works for you. See if you might have a time or two over that period just to dive into one of the events. Where one of the bonuses, small bonus of this pandemic, of course, is that so much of us it's just moved online, and now there's so many more opportunities for us to be together at a distance. And we hope you might be able to take advantage of that. And so Johnny has shared about Pax Christi USA's plans, so that they are to come, right, Johnny? Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Judy. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the click in there. Yeah, I posted a little bit up in the chat. You'll see what we did last year to celebrate and honor and acknowledge the Catholic Nonviolence Days of Action in 2020. And a lot of that material we'll make available again this year as well, including some webinars that we did, as well as actions, prayer study action alerts. We're trying to look for a coordinated action that Pax Christi USA groups can take all around the nation, but we also recognize that depending on your particular site, the different protocols that are in place because of the pandemic and stuff, you may be limited in what you can do. So any action that Pax Christi USA groups take during this season, these days of nonviolent action, really are welcome. And like Judy mentioned, we're partnering, this overlaps for us with Pace Bene's days of nonviolent action as well. And so we're kind of double dipping there. We're saying, if you're doing something for that, you can also market it as this. And Pace Bene was cool about us doing that as well. And so we're just really happy to do something like this. I know, and Marie and Judy can speak to this, one of the things I was always envious of Pax Christi sections around the world is that they often had peace weeks where their groups did, specific actions to promote the work of their section of Pax Christi in their country, in their geographical region. And all their groups would do it at the same time. And I think these Catholic Nonviolence Days of Action are becoming that for us in Pax Christi USA, that it is a period of time that each year we plan to make an annual part of our work, of our general plan, a tradition within Pax Christi USA to raise up nonviolence, to raise up the work of Pax Christi USA, and to have all of our groups sort of simultaneously doing something to model and to promote nonviolence. So I'm just really looking forward to it. And thank you so much, Judy, for your organizing of all of it, as well as the rest of the CNI team. Thanks.
Well, it only works with all these other folks. So that's, we depend on each other. So I do want to go ahead and let's see, I think that we can just go ahead and invite Marie to give some final comments to wrap up our time together, if that's okay.
Sure. Great. Thanks, Judy. And as Johnny said, thanks for all the work that you do for the Catholic Nonviolence Initiative. It's a very lot. I was asked, as Judy said, to kind of wrap up this pre-conference conference on nonviolence and point the way to Pax Christi USA's national conference, which begins tonight. So just a few words. First of all, thank you to all of you who participated in the different breakout sessions. I hope, and I suspect that they were very fruitful, reminding all of us that nonviolence is a deep, wide, rich concept that has been at the heart of Pax Christi's life and work from the very beginning. In fact, Pax Christi USA uses two lenses to look at and evaluate all of our work, all of the different issues that we address in our efforts for just peace. On the one hand, as we've said many times today, we have a deep organizational commitment to living and promoting nonviolence. At the same time, Pax Christi USA has a deep organizational commitment to becoming and to being anti-racist. Those two commitments are intrinsically interconnected, and neither is just one more issue in a long list of important concerns. Rather, they are both cross-cutting approaches, influencing everything else we do. But to see that, to understand that, takes some ongoing effort. For example, despite decades of commitment to nonviolence, I believe that most of us throughout our global Pax Christi movement, from dyed-in-the-wool pacifists to liberationists and nonviolent skeptics, are trying out nonviolence in new ways, seeing its power and depth with new eyes, talking about it in new ways, applying it in new situations, struggling to understand how it shapes our lifestyles in the 21st century, how it can change our neighborhoods, our towns, our cities, our church, what it looks like as a global ethic, what laws and policy proposals would promote nonviolent approaches to violent and potentially violent situations. We are also asking fundamental questions about what is violence. And there we can see a whole landscape of connections. Olga Segura, our keynote speaker for the PCUSA National Conference that begins tonight, will help us to see the violence of racism in our country, our church, our local communities. The breakout sessions during the conference tomorrow will point to other expressions of violence: nuclear weapons, forced migration and xenophobia, the tremendous systemic violence that the pandemic has exposed in the global economy, in the vast gap between the super rich and those who are extremely vulnerable, in our tattered, temporary social safety net, in our healthcare system, in food insecurity and hunger, in the number of people experiencing homeless in our cities and our countries, and on and on and on. Throughout the conference tomorrow, we will see and experience nonviolence as well. I urge you to notice it and to name it. You know that nonviolence is a spirituality and a way of life because that's how you live. Together, we're learning that nonviolence is a broad spectrum of effective approaches to addressing the multiple violences we encounter every day. I think in the last 5 years, I have probably said that sentence 1,000,000 times, almost as often as, can you hear me? Can you unmute? Nonviolence may look, the energetic, positive international response to Pax Christi's Catholic Nonviolence Initiative from both inside and outside the church over the past 5 years has been really quite amazing. We are all learning from local experience how to live nonviolently in our own context, how to employ nonviolence wherever we live in the service of racial justice, human dignity, peace, ecological integrity. Nonviolence may very well look very different in different cultures and situations. By sharing experiences of nonviolence across cultures and contexts around the world, I believe that we are creating a very rich tapestry of experience that will help center nonviolence as we create the post-pandemic new normal that Pope Francis speaks about so often. We have so much to learn from our friends who practice nonviolence in the context, for example, of occupation in Palestine, in the context of poverty or violence in Haiti, or street violence in Washington, D.C., in response to extractive projects that are pillaging the earth and violating sacred lands, in response to gang violence, to the climate crisis, to the threat of nuclear annihilation. Our friends who practice nonviolence in the belly of the beast where we all live, and whose nonviolence is radically anti-racist. It is up to all of us to listen to the experience and wisdom of those in our community and beyond who understand the reality of violence from the inside out, who can imagine the contours of a new paradigm, of what a new nonviolent, anti-racist normal has to be like, and how we can continue to move in that direction with energy, creativity, and hope. The Pax Christi USA National Conference, which will start in just a few hours, is a great opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. That was great. So we're just gonna wrap up our time together now. We've had a lot to think about, a lot to consider. We want to invite everyone to consider reciting the vow of nonviolence together. The vow of nonviolence was written, 20 something years ago, 30 years ago. I'm not sure the exact date. And I'm gonna actually screen share. I have it in a Word doc if people want to follow along. So we'll just say this together and then come back and just have one last word before we sign off briefly before we come back together tonight. So let me just find it on my screen. Here we go. The vow of nonviolence. Recognizing the violence in my own heart, yet trusting in the goodness and mercy of God, I vow to practice the nonviolence of Jesus, who taught us in the Sermon on the Mount, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons and daughters of God." You have learned how it was said, "You must love your neighbor and hate your enemy." But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. In this way, you will be daughters and sons of your Creator in heaven. By striving for peace within myself and seeking to be a peacemaker in my daily life, by refusing to retaliate in the face of provocation and violence, by persevering in nonviolence of tongue and heart, by living conscientiously and simply so that I do not deprive others of the means to live, by actively resisting evil and working nonviolently to abolish war and the causes of war from my own heart and from the face of the earth. God, I trust in your sustaining love and believe that just as you gave me the grace and desire to offer this, so you will also bestow abundant grace to fulfill it. Amen. So thank you all again. Thanks to all the participants, the webinar panelists. Thanks to Johnny and his merry crew at Pax Christi USA for our time together. And I just want to invite again everyone to come to the national conference starting tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you then. And then tomorrow, there's lots of really good stuff tomorrow afternoon too. So it'll be a great time together. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Judy. And what we're going to do here, I know that Pax Christi folks often like to visit a little bit at the end of these times on Zoom together. So I'm going to unmute everybody in case you see people that you want to get their attention or say hello to that you haven't seen for a while. And I also just want to extend my deepest thanks to all of you for joining us today. And for those of you who will be joining us for the conference tonight and tomorrow as well. One of the things that I wrote in the letter to folks that went out to just confirm participation in the conference is that for me, Pax Christi USA has always been about community, and that we are communities of resistance and mutual support. And it's only fitting that we should gather together and express our solidarity and our communion, even if it is virtually on occasion. So I look forward to seeing all of you tonight at the Pax Christi USA National Conference opening plenary, and tomorrow for our breakout sessions and our Teacher of Peace Award to Brian Massengale. We'll also be naming 4 new ambassadors of peace during the closing mass with our Bishop President, Bishop John Stowe. So thanks to everybody, and thanks especially to all our presenters and speakers and panelists today, Judy, our moderator, Marie, Dan, and Jeanette for your opening plenary, and everyone else that was involved. So I'm going to go ahead and change the mute here so that folks can unmute themselves if they'd like to and say hello to everybody. Okay. So feel free to unmute and say hi to folks if you see people you know.
Hey, Beth Begley, it's Madeline.
Yep,
Hello,
thanks,
Father
everyone.
Bob Cushing.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi, Pat.
you with the gray hair. Good to see you here.
That's a lot of us.
Yeah.
Hi, Madeline.
Beth.
Good to
Little
see you.
slow.
And back at you, Dan. Glad to see all those who aren't gray yet. The smaller, the smaller number.
Hi, Rosemarie.
I always feel a little romper room-ish, right? Isn't it romper room where I see Judy and Madeline and Cornelia and Fred and Nurse Judy and Kathy. Hi, Eli. Hi, Lauren.
Good to
Now
see you.
I'm showing my age now. The Marlene Dietrich reference went over my head, Jeanette. Okay, she's not here anymore, but
Want to be alone.
nice, Claudia.
Come on, you don't know that, huh?
Good to see you, Kathy O'Leary. Thanks for all the comments.
Yeah. Hi, Madeline.
Hi.
Casey, do I see? I don't know if Katie's still on here. Oh, I should have introduced you before she got off, but I'll introduce you, Casey, to Katie. What you had chatted in the box in our session. You and Katie should definitely connect.
Sounds great.
Cool. Thanks to Roxana and John Noble and Lauren from our staff who handled all the tech and stuff behind the scenes. They were great, and I'm just really, really grateful for everybody doing that. So hopefully we'll have learned a little something for our bigger gathering tonight and tomorrow.
So we were guinea pigs.
Well, Lauren, the young
Oink, oink.
adults were the guinea pigs yesterday.
Oh.
Lauren hosted a session on policing for about 30 or 40 young adults. And so she did the first kind of run to see how everything worked.
They probably could help you, Johnny, figure it out, right?
They
The
could
young adults.
they laugh at me. I see Roxana on here now. Roxana can vouch that the rest of the staff laughs at me as I go, so where's the record button? And
Well-
how does the TikTok work?
Johnny, we're still on Facebook Live. So
Oh, hey, let's get off of Facebook Live.